And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the ESL Masters Winter America's Closed Qualifier. We just wrapped up with Nina versus Erik. Nina did qualify through into the main event, and now Erik has another chance, another opportunity, but it's up against a fellow Zerg player from the Americas, up against Reaper. Oh boy. Uh-oh. And here we go. Predictions in the chat are open, by the way, so place your bets on how you think this series is going to go. You have a couple of minutes upon hearing this message to piece it all together as we're getting into our next game. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Solaris, we have the American Zerg player. Oh my, going and setting up for a bit of a 13-12. Representing Team Gosu, it is Reaper. The cheesiest player in all of the Americas. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the red Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. He is one of our own. We're going to be going for a 15-15 hatch into a 15 spawning pool. A very safe opener here with the earlier spawning pool. We can gain access to faster queens and lings. But is this going to work here against a 13-12? I do believe that this opener is relatively safe, and we should be working on a spawning pool momentarily, so we'll have faster units available. But I also have to bring into consideration the control of Reaper. And again, Reaper is very well versed in cheese and in aggression, in ling control as well. So, oh boy, it's all going to come down to this. Predictions open. So let the people know in the chat as to what is going on and what is coming out. Here we go. The lings are on the way. And again, because this is a 13-12, this is pretty all in. We have a Bailey Nest, ling speed. There is no natural base. So Reaper, one base all in from him, setting everything across the map with ling speed, with Bailings. Erik, can he recognize what's going on in time? That is the big question here, as the lings have been spotted by the Overlord. Erik is aware of what is happening, and he has to make sure he is able to defend back. We have a Spine Crawler on the way. That will help. He has to be ready to give up his natural. That's the other thing. Again, it's a 13-12, so it's a one base all in. Erik, he can afford to lose a hatchery, but he cannot afford to lose much else than that. Oh my god, we're pulling the boys? Oh my god, we're crazy. Boys are being pulled. We want to try to hold on to this base. We want to try and save the queen, and we will force back these lings. Bailings are on the way. Ling speed is about to kick in as well. Erik, he is crazy, diving on those morphing in Bailings. He will deny one. I don't think he can deny the other, though, as he does make his way back. But the Spine Crawlers are done. Can we actually root them here on the low ground? It's going to be close. Here we go. Ling speed kicks in. Ling speed does kick in. The first queen gets completely surrounded. Big connection here. The queen goes down. But the Spine Crawlers, they get up and running, and this is going to be a solid hold if we can save the mineral line, if we can save the queens. The Bailings, they come in, they crash on forward onto the lings. The Spine Crawler does finish the queen. Can it survive? It barely will. Only two lings make it into the main base. We should be able to morph in some Bailings in the corner of the base, but Erik is shutting this down. Oh my god. There we go. We have eyes on the morphing and Bailings. They're going to be shut down as well. Again, Reaper, he is still committed. He's still all in. He still has to pull this off somehow, some way. But alas, for now, he cannot. He is forced back. Erik holds. And he has a base. He has an even worker count, but he's up on bases. He has a massive advantage. And behind this, Reaper is following it up with roaches, which makes sense. Makes plenty of sense here. He's got an abundance. He has an abundance of gas to work with. Erik likewise throwing down 2 more gases to actually catch back up. He has been going gasless this entire time. Roach Warren is up. Not quite on the way. We do get a snipe on that drone. As the Roach one is thrown down. And yeah, from here, Erik is going to be able to hold on. He's going to be able to hold on. See, so many options. Every other caster other than Roddy. Yeah, I think Dave and Katz, they joined us. I think they're co-casting together. So one of the casters with us, basically. I mean, we were going to be following Erik from the beginning. We've been following him this entire time. He's our boy, so of course we're going to follow him. Yeah, it's up to the other casters with what they want to prioritize and who they want to cover. I don't blame them. You know, Erik, he's a popular guy. And Reaper as well, to be fair. There we go. The roaches are on the way. But last with 2 Spine Coolers with 3 Queens and with the defensive roaches, I don't see Reaper really breaking this position. But he's all in. He hasn't been droning. He made a hatchery just for larva. It's all or nothing here for Reaper. I mean, the Ravagers will help with dealing with these Spine Crawlers at least. And oh my god, we're being dragged out. Reaper. Erik has to be very careful with his positioning. He cannot be caught out by the Lings. He cannot be surrounded. Roach speed on the way. Oh, and here we go, Reaper. He is pulling the trigger. He's looking for the surround. And show us the Biles. The Biles, they will connect. No, they will not. They take down 1 roach. I thought it was going for the surrounded roaches. Didn't quite go for them. As Biles will land. Not quite the connections that we're looking for, though. As Erik, he is holding. A couple of roaches are going down, though, to the Lings. Biles will connect. We have a 3rd Spine Crawler behind this. We even we had a backup Roach Warren on the way, just in case. But last, we didn't even need it. And Erik is just getting further and further ahead. From here, Erik going to be going into 2-base Muta, which is a way to just secure the victory here. I don't think he needs it, but he still has to respect the surround. The Biles are looking to connect, and it looks like they will. Big connections here on the roaches. Reaper still has a comparable army. Roach speed does finish up, and we do take down one of the Ravagers, the 2nd Ravager as well. GG gets called, and Erik will hold, and he will take game number 1. Whew, GG. GG, well played. Erik will take a lead in this series, but that was close, and I'm very impressed with Erik's defense there. I guess it makes sense specifically because of his opener. So because he went hatch pool, not hatch gas pool, it means he gets faster queens. It means he gets the faster queen at the natural, and he can try to save that natural base with extra queens and with the Spine Coolers, of course, as well. So really good execution out of Erik, and yeah, it just goes to show how safe his opener was. Reaper has a reputation of being very cheesy and very aggressive. I mean, I brought it up even before we started the series. That's what he's known for, so I'm sure Erik is fully aware of that as well. I'm sure he is fully aware, and from here, we're getting ready for our next game. Let's go. Also, fun fact, for those wondering, I do have Roddy's stream open on my side monitor. Did they finish, actually? Just to try to keep an eye on Ryu's matches, because I know it's Ryu against M. Canning, and they are in the late game, and I'm a little bit concerned. Do we have results? I need to find out. Refreshing the brackets. Do we have results? No, we do have results. My heart feels bad, man, as it looks like M. Canning did take down Ryu 2-1 and did eliminate Ryu from the qualifier. Feels bad, man, feels bad. My heart goes out to Ryu. GG, papi, GG, well played. I was hoping to cover him later. I was very willing to dive on Vindicta versus Ryu if that would be the case. But Ryu has been eliminated, and well done, well played to M. Canning for advancing on to face off against Vindicta. best of luck. Best of luck. As we're getting into this and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Hard Lead. Going for a 14 hatch. Oh boy, the cheese does not stop, by the way. We have the American Zerg player representing Team Gosu. It is Reaper. And spawning in the top left. Oh, sorry, that was a 15 hatch. My mistake, not a 14 hatch. In the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Brazilian Zerg player. He's one of our own, representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. Very interesting. Mirrored builds, if I'm not mistaken. For the most part. Okay, so I think it was a 14 hatch into a 15 pool. That is why in the resources lost, Erik has lost more, because Erik went for a 15-15. This was a 14-15 from Reaper instead. So a slight deviation here, but overall same kind of outlook here on the openers. Very interesting. Okay. So we're going to be getting into this. This does lead very nicely into 2-base Roach, as we saw previously. We are basically opening up gasless. We're going to be delaying our gases for a long time here, and this will lead into eventually taking 2 gases at once. I say that Erik does take his a little bit faster. Interesting. Interesting. Reaper is doing what I expect to happen. Typically, you focus on queen production, drone production, and you delay your gases until you start working on your wall and working on your roaches, essentially. Erik does get gas a little bit faster. I'm curious as to what he's going to do with this. We could try to rush into something like Link Speed, or maybe be a little bit more aggressive early on, as he's still piecing together what is happening. As Erik does confirm the hatchery is done. And we will be droning from here. So very interesting start from our players. Meanwhile, double gases from Reaper. Now that he's droned up, now that he has more or less saturated his main and at least half saturated his natural, now it is time to take these gases. Lings come in for a scout, and Erik does spot both gases being taken. And here comes the wall. Likewise, Erik also working in his own wall. Erik was able to get into gas production earlier, and that is why Link Speed. This is something that is usually skipped. You usually skip Link Speed when we're going 2-base Roach, which is why Reaper skipped his own. So technically, I would say that Reaper has a more efficient start because he's saving the gas that would have been spent on Link Speed, and he's going to be saving it for more roaches, essentially. More roaches, faster lair, better upgrades. Erik, again, really interesting that he decided to go into Link Speed. Roaches are already on the way. Erik is going and moving out now. Oh my god. So Reaper is droning because he's safe and secure on 2 bases. Erik is going for an all-in. Now, all-inning a 2-base Roach player is very difficult because they're heavily fortified. They have a wall being set up already. Up! Spine Crawler. Sorry, Spine? Creep Tumor is going to barely survive. But they have a solid defensive setup here. Overlords, they do spot the roaches, and Reaper is supply blocked. Uh-oh, he can make 1 roach, and that is it. He is heavily supply blocked. Overlords are on the way. He is not ready for this. Spine Crawler is a full wall off as well. Reaper is in a lot of trouble. He's making 3 overlords at the moment to break free from the supply block. He has a good economy. He can make roaches. He can try. He's investing into a lair as well, which will not help him. Will help him if he survives. If he survives. Files are going to be connecting here with the Spine Crawler of all things. Spine Crawler taking a lot of hits, and it should go down. 1 Automas. 1 more is needed. We do have Transfuse. We keep the Spine alive. Clutch moves there from Reaper. The Roach Warren does fall, which means that's the last of the roaches that we're going to be seeing here from Reaper, at least until the backup Roach Warren finishes. Good on Burrow. Oh, Bobby. Does unburrow that spine. Has to reburrow once again, and here we go. The Lings are flooding on in. We're looking for a surround on these roaches. We're looking for some biles, and the biles, they will connect. Oh, they take down almost every single roach. 4 more roaches in production, but it looks like Erik has too much. He breaks on in, gets a surround on the queens. Biles once again connecting with the drones, and there is nothing left. GG gets called, and Erik takes game number 2. Ooh, GG. GG, well played again. Erik going into a faster gas behind his what should have been a gasless opener, catching his opponent completely off guard, getting into link speed, and going into the all-in, as we were mentioning before. Very well done there, very well executed by Erik. Reaper, unfortunately, in the dark. And it's hard to scout. It's hard to scout when you're going 2 base, just because you have no link speed. It means you have no links to be active on the map and to check your opponent. Oh, you have to rely on overlords instead, and yeah, Reaper, he was caught with his pants down. On top of that, the as we get everyone in here, on top of that, of course, the I lost my train of thought. Sorry, yes, there was something happening in game. There was something happening in game. Oh, as we are splitting coverage. I see. I understand. Oh, the supply block, right, that's what I was bringing up. On top of that, there was the supply block, which was brutal. The worst timing for the supply block, actually, for Reaper in the end. As we're getting into game number 3, potentially the final game of the series, potentially. Reaper, can he fight back? Can he put a point on the board and make a series out of this? Personally, I hope so. You know, obviously I want Erik to win, but I would love to see more of a back and forth here between Reaper and Erik. Again, good friends of Reaper, you know, he's been very supportive of the channel. He drops by every now and then. We go way back in 2020 when it comes to casting Battle of the Americas. Reaper, he was one of the featured players that we would cast quite a lot of back in the day. But here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have the green Zerg player representing Team Gosu, the land of the Americas. It is Reaper. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent once again going for a 15 hatch. Same opener every single game. We have the Brazilian Zerg player representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. Uno mas 1 game away from qualifying for the ESL Masters Americas Regionals, the Winter Regionals. We'll see if he can get there. So far is going to be a 15 hatch into a 15 spawning pool. Again, he's been going for the same opener every single time. Meanwhile, Reaper, oh my, interesting, is going for something very different. Reaper went for, I believe it was a 14 hatch into a 13 gas into a 12 pool. As he now squeezes out a couple more drones. Or maybe it was just say 14, 14, 14, basically. 2 more drones are on the way. So yeah, these workers were made after the spawning pool. So a very aggressive opener. This is made to look like a hatch first. This is made to mask the all-in that is coming out behind this, essentially. And also provide some larva, of course. So we are going to be rushing into link speed and going all in behind this. Erik, he has been showing off some pretty insane defense earlier. Can he do it again? The Overlord is going to come in for a scout. He will spot an Overlord, and he may underreact just because of this, again, this hatchery. Hatchery designed to throw off the scent of the all-in. Link speed is on the way. We pull out a gas, so it is not going to be banelings. We are just going to be link flooding. I'm getting mixed signals. Reaper, he does make 1 extra drone, but I think it's only going to be 1 worker. Yeah, he is making it look like he's saturating his natural again, masking the link flood. Overlord goes in. Overlord sees the drones. And that's going to be the cue for Erik to drone as well. Now, he is going for a link scout, which is going to be very important. Now, even if Erik sees the link flood, because we're on Oceanborn, the rush distance is very short. So Erik has very little time to react. He's going to have to bring his queen from the high ground to low ground. Oh, he's rushing into a left. He's skipping link speed. Uh-oh. Erik may just die. This may be over before it began. He's rushing on a wall. He's throwing down a roach warren, soon to be an evo chamber as well. And we are just banking lings. Erik, he doesn't get his link scout off. He is denied by the queens. And I think this is game. It's brutal, but again, we're just banking up Lings. We're about to pull the trigger, and Erik is woefully underprepared. He's droning, no Ling speed, no Banelings. He will have a Roach Warren, sure, but that's all he will have. And here we go. The Lings are floating across the map. Now Erik knows. He goes for a full wall. He has a secondary wall behind this as well. Evo chambers are being thrown down as we speak, and the wall is soon going to fall here. I mean, the secondary wall is putting in a lot of work, is going to be able to buy some time. The Queen's doing what they can against all these Lings. We have another wall being thrown down with another Evo chamber. Get it down! Oh. But I don't think that's a secure wall, Buffy. I don't think that's secure. And yeah, the Lings, they will flood on in. They get a surround on the Queens. The boys are being pulled. Roaches are coming out. But the Queens do go down. Can Erik hold on? Can he somehow survive as he loses every single drone to the natural? And the Lings, they break into the main base, getting even more worker kills. Again, Erik, he could afford to lose some drones, but not too many, as he is technically ahead in the worker count. For now. Lings, they break on into the natural once again. They get on top of the Roach. They get a surround on the natural base. Erik trying to keep up, trying to clean up these Lings. He's surviving, but not for much longer. Oof. As behind this, Reaper is droning. More drones go down. Solid holds here at the ramp. Really good hold position micro there from those Roaches. And Erik survives. And now we have to take stock. Again, very impressive defense. Very impressive defense here from Erik. I'm shocked that he did make it out of this alive. Now, Reaper has a massive worker lead. He has a massive worker lead, but Reaper is behind in tech. So Erik has a lair. He has Roaches. He has Evo chambers. He has tech. So even though Reaper has a better economy, it's going to take a while for him to catch up in tech, to start a lair, to start a Roach Warren, to start Evo chambers and work on upgrades. So Erik's still in this. He is still in this. He lives, he survives, and now he thrives. Well, he'll try to. Oh, are we going for no shot? We're going into Mutus, Papi. He's crazy. Second gas is taken, and Erik, he goes for the Spire. Oh my god. All the gases are being taken as well, and this is very out of left field. This is very unexpected. Reaper, he's working on a third base, working on his Roach Warren as well. Now, I wonder if Reaper can piece this together. Now, to be fair, he did kill a lot of workers, so the fact that there are no upgrades isn't the biggest tell, because I'm sure he's rationalizing, I mean, I did a lot of economic damage. He's probably just redroning. He probably doesn't really have the resources to invest in these upgrades anyway, so that's what's happening. Little does he know that we're taking up into a Spire of all things. Now, there are a couple of Overlords on the map, not too many Overlords. We have 1, 2 Queens in between these bases, so the bases themselves are a little bit exposed. If we can catch a Queen, we can kill a Mineral Line. The question becomes, how many Mutas? That's the real question here. We have 600 gas. A Muta's 100 gas, so we can make 6, but we don't really have the minerals for that yet, as Erik is just banking up his resources. And there we go. 3 Mutas are on the way. We're going to try to squeeze out a couple more. Erik going to be threatening a ground push. He's going to force a commitment here into a ground army. But Erik has to be careful, because can he deal with this? He's forcing a lot of units out, and Erik, I feel like he has to come back home. He's going to rotate around with his Roaches. Lings are moving out. Ravagers as well. Here comes the ground army of Reaper. And can Erik deal with this? Oh boy. Here we go. The Mutas have revealed themselves. Reaper is now committed. And it looks like Erik wants to go straight for the Ravagers. Okay, yeah, he is going for the Ravagers. Gonna try to focus them down. Looks like he will get at least 1 before the attack, but the wall is no longer a wall. 1 Ravager goes down. The Mutas, they go for a second, but there's just too much on the ground, and Reaper, he floods on in. He gets a surround on the Roaches, and he can go straight for the drones from here. And even though Erik was able to get into Mutas, I don't think he can survive this. Yeah, as the Lings, they take down the mineral line. Roaches, they do waddle into the main base. We're getting into a series. We're getting into a back and forth. Again, a very well hidden all-in from Reaper to begin with. He gets a kill on the natural. And even though these mutas will clean everything up and will go for a counterattack, we have spores. Oh my, plenty of spores on the way, Vappy. The queens as well. We have 4 queens. About to have 6. Erik coming across the map. And he's going to try to get damage done. He is up to 12 mutas. Oh, he's taking some hits. Almost lose a muta in the process. He's getting damage done. He may even kill this base, actually, but Erik needs to do more than this. That's the sad reality. The sad truth here is that a hatchery is not good enough. Transfuse keeps it alive. No shot. The transfuse will keep the hatchery alive. Erik, he won't even get that. As he dips into the main. Hydra Den is on the way. Erik, he will get a spore. He's going to rotate around towards that third base once again, but the queens are ready and waiting. Spore crawlers as well. Back at home, Erik trying to retake his natural, where even his roach horn is bleeding out. And again, with 13 mutas, there is potential, definitely, but I feel like that potential is about to leave us. Oh, once we get the hydras, another muta is going to go down. The Hydra Roach will be forcing Erik back. Is there a world where he can come back in this game? I mean, he's got half the worker count. These mutas, if they can somehow catch a mineral line, the problem is that because we have spores everywhere, because we have the Hydras now, it's unlikely that Erik can actually get much economic damage. Very unlikely. If he does, it's going to be crazy. He can maybe get a drone here. Gets one. Does threaten the queen, but has to back off. Oof. And he's going for the base itself, but alas, he will not get it. Once again, bleeds out some mutas. Erik is trying to transition into roaches, into really a very roach-heavy composition. Dives on the spore in the main base. He's going to get a couple more workers. He's down to 11 mutas. He's going for the lair if possible. Reaper, he's ignoring the army. He's even pulling some boys with this because why the hell not? As Reaper should be aware that there's nothing at home to defend. There's 4 roaches and 1 queen. GG gets called. And Reaper puts a point on the board. GG. Oh. We have a series that, again, a very well hidden all-in from Reaper, giving him a solid start to the game, giving him a solid economic lead. And Erik rushing into mutas was a risk, a very risky move that alas did not pay off in the end. Not on Oceanborn especially. Oceanborn, the rush distance by ground is very short, so the eventual Ravager, Roach Ravager counterattack was just too much. GG. GG, well played. Whew. And now we have a back and forth. We have more of a back and forth here. Erik still needs only 1, but if Reaper takes this game, we can get to the ace match. The pressure is still on Reaper. But, you know, that goal is ever closer. Is now closer than ever before. And we'll see if we can go all the way, if we can go the distance. Next game is on Hecate. Oh boy. And the question becomes, what haven't we seen from Reaper? We've seen a 13-12. We've seen a 14-13-12 with the fake hatchery, with a Ling Flood. What else did we end up seeing? I'm kind of drawing a blank a little bit for that second. All right, we saw a gasless opener into 2-base roach. We haven't seen a 12-11 or a 12 pool yet from Reaper. Will we see them this time? Let's go. As spawning in the top, he's making a drone. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Hecate, we have the American Zerg player representing Team Gosu, Not going for a 12 pool, thankfully. It is Reaper. Fighting back and putting a point on the board. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Brazilian Zerg player going for a 15 hatch once again. Representing the CranKy Ducklings. Quack, puppy, quack. It is Erik. Here we go. So it's going to be 15-15, 15 hatch into a 15 spawning pool. You do love to see it. Meanwhile, Reaper across the map. Interesting. Going for a gas first. It's going to be a gas pool into a hatchery. A very aggressive opener here. So not as, I would say, all in as like a 13-12 for example, but this does lead into really fast link speed. It can be masked as a pool first to try to catch your opponent off guard and to eventually catch them off guard with a link flood and with a Bane Bust. Again, I expect Reaper to stay in gas after he gets link speed and stay in it to get a Bailey Nest and work towards a Bane Bust as well. So a very aggressive opener here from Reaper. And for now, Erik is unawares. Now, this time there's no kind of fake out with the hatch timing. So once this Overlord arrives, Erik, he's going to know that it's at least a pool first. Either a pool first or a gas first, obviously. One or the other. There's link speed and we do not pull out. So this is for a link speed Bane Bust. That should be on the way from Reaper. Meanwhile, Erik back at home getting a bit of a faster gas geyser as we saw previously, so he will be able to get into his own link speed. Lings have been spotted. The hatch timing has been spotted as well, and Erik, he's going to be responding with his own defensive lings. Now again, what's important is that this still looks like a pool first, so he doesn't know that we're going to be getting to really fast link speed and that Bailey Nest as well. Erik, he's in the dark as to what exactly Reaper is up to. So far, the armies are going to be dancing. And Erik does end up trading a little bit better here in the skirmish. Doesn't kill anything, but he does get a lot of damage done on these things. And this is a mistake. He is being lured out into the open. He does kill one Ling, but what is scary about this is that we should be banking Lings back at home. And Ling speed is soon about to kick in. Once Ling speed does kick in, we can clean everything up. And Erik will not be trading efficiently. So Erik does see the queen. Back at home, Roach Warren is thrown down. Erik is droning. No defensive Bailey Nest. And Reaper, he's banking up Lings for a Bane Bust. He's all in. And there we go. Link speed does reveal itself. Now Erik knows what's happening. He has to fully wall off. He needs to react. He needs to completely wall off here at the natural. But the Banelings are arriving. We're waiting for the Roaches here to try to make an army. But this may just be too little too late. No spine, only two queens. There, the Banelings have arrived, and we need a secondary wall behind this. There it is. Two more Evo chambers thrown down, and can we cancel? Oh, we do barely cancel in time. Third wall on the way. Can we get it up in time? We barely do. That's a kill though on that Evo chamber, and the queens are getting surrounded. The queens are going down. Roaches are on the way though. They made it just in time. Whew, that was very close. And this is going to get cleaned up. Oh, a lot of drones are going down there here. Jesus, 5 workers. But the Roaches will clean everything up, and this could have been game. Oh no! We need to cancel. We need to cancel some of these Evo chambers. We finished up one of them by accident. Do cancel in the end. And Erik does hold. And he's in a decent position. We do see the lair timings are comparable to each other. Erik down in workers. He does have a Roach army. He's going for a bit of a counterattack, or he's trying to fake out a counterattack, but Reaper doesn't respond. He does not spend any of his lava on units. He has been droning. And again, this fake move out here from Erik didn't quite force the reaction that he wanted. Yeah, Reaper just droning happily. Reaper, fun fact, he has no army. He has 0 units. The goal there from Erik was to try to scare Reaper into making Roaches and making Lings, and it did not work. Did not work. We have a third base on the way. More drones on the way as well. Again, Reaper has nothing to defend. Oh, he would, of course, if he did spot a more committed move out, but again, He's able to call the bluff of his opponent. Spire is on the way from Reaper. Mutas on the horizon. Now this is now a risky move from Reaper because Erik can hit a strong 1-1 timing with roaches as the mutas pop out. So we may see a role reversal from that previous game where the mutas pop out but they can't do anything. They can't stop the roach army from killing him. It's possible. As for now, Erik is saturated on 3 bases. He can now focus on roach production and he's going to hit a very strong timing with 1-1. ZvZ dips in, trying to get a full scout off. Now, I appreciate that Reaper is making roach speed. He has no Evo upgrades, unfortunately, and he is banking resources for mutas. So he's making a couple of roaches, which will help, but he is relying a lot on this muta, on the Spire, on these mutas. Here we go. Here comes the push. And this may deal a crippling amount of damage. 6 mutas are on the way, 3 queens as well. We are squeezing out a couple of roaches. Is it going to be enough? As the upgrades from Erik are kicking in, +1 carapace and +1 range. A little bit mistimed though. Carapace is done, range is still on the way. And here we go. Erik, he does reveal himself. He dies right on top of the queens. He gets 1. A bit of a misclick there, but he should barely get the other as well. Yeah, the roaches, they do push on forward into that mineral line. The mutas do reveal themselves. And we are running out of roaches. We are running out of steam. Erik trying to force his way in, trying to force his way through the defensive line. He gets a couple of roaches into the main base. But I don't think it's going to be enough. Looks like Reaper, yeah, he is holding. Reaper ahead in workers, ahead in tech now with these mutas. He has map control. Sure, we have a couple of roaches chipping away at the 3rd base, but we should be able to hold on to it. Again, that was a close moment. And Erik's not stopping. Erik, he's still rallying everything across the map. Again, he knows how much pressure he's under. He's going to get a couple of drones here at the natural. Good target firing. And again, very necessary damage. A contamination on the lair. As we do see, Erik is actually getting damage done. He has more reinforcements rocking up here at the natural as well. Reaper being pulled apart. Reaper, he was up in workers, now falling behind. 20 drones go down. This should not have happened. The defense was solid. Reaper didn't lose any drones. He didn't lose any workers in the initial defense, but somehow, some way, Erik pulls him apart. Hydras are on the way. But we still have a lot of mutas. 12 mutas, soon to be 14 mutas for Reaper. Erik, does he have enough anti-air? 9 hydras, that is not enough, not yet. I think I was hoping for another contamination. Roaches, once again, they slip in. 3 more drones go down. Before they are cleaned up, can they get the queen? Not quite. Queen does survive. Meanwhile, Hydra speed is done. Hydra range is on the way. For Erik, he's got 1-1 for the Hydras as well, and he is slowly saturating his 3rd base. Well, he's got the 3rd, no saturation yet, but I'm sure he will work on it momentarily. As he is building up his forces. At the same time, Reaper, he does catch a couple of Hydras. 1 Hydra for free. 1 Hydra for 1 muta, to be fair. Let's see, we go. Erik is pushing out. So meanwhile, Reaper, what does he have to defend? He's got links, he's got banelings on the way, and bailing speed as well. That's going to be exactly what he needs. Erik rotating around towards the 3rd base. Bailing speed 5 seconds away from finishing. Now, there are some roaches to help support, to help buffer. But how good are the splits going to be? Hatchery does fall. Reaper getting ready to dive on forward. The splits are looking good. And Reaper, he cannot engage. Not against this army. As the Bailings do roll on forward here. And we just need some decent connections. Up. And I think we can fight these Hydras. I think we have enough mutas. Yeah, we will clean this up, but at a cost. As the Hydras do go down. Behind this, Erik just building up more Hydras back at home. Saturating his bases with a better economy, with a higher base count. Reaper still has 14 mutas. Oh. And here we go. Now it's time for Erik to be the defender. Reaper looking to push in. 7 roaches are on the way, but are they going to come out in time? We need those roaches. I'm loving the the spore crawler to help have an anchor point here for the defense. We have a spore in between the bases. We have a spore here at the 3rd base as well. The mutas do catch an overlord. Infestation bit means we can get access to infestors. Infestors will be on the way. And the Lingbane army turns around. Reaper gonna be droning instead. Okay. Backs off. And this is a scary thing because Erik has a better army. As the game progresses, Hydra, Lurker, Viper is ideal. We don't have a Hive though, so it's going to be Hydra, Roach, Infestor instead, which has potential. Fungals, they can do well against both the Mutas and the Lingbane. As the Mutas are looking for a way in. This is not it though. Bleed out a little bit too much. I mean, Reaper is just vying for map control. Now, what's interesting to me is that Erik hasn't been droning. He could if he wanted to. Erik, he could saturate this 3rd base. He could get full saturation, take the gases as well. But Erik has refused to here. That's Erik for you. It's really risky move, but Erik is basically all in. Instead of going for a longer game, he's risking it all here on this one big attack. But there's Lingbane waiting for him. There are Banelings, and we need to connect with these Fungals. If we miss the Fungals, if we whiff, then Erik will lose this army. Fungals, they need to connect with not just the Mutas, but also the Lingbane. The Banelings specifically. Here we go. The Infestors do reveal themselves. Reaper has to respect them, but here we go. He pushes in. Fungals, they do connect on the Banelings, and they connect on the Mutas as well, but it looks like there's just too much here from Reaper. He cleans up the army. And that is all that Erik had. He did not have an economy to sustain this, to sustain himself. The Mutas are getting out of control, and we are going to be going to the ace match. Erik down to half the supply of his opponent. He did well defending initially. He did well getting into Hydras as well. But this has gotten out of control. Good Fungals, but good Fungals are not good enough. Oof. And with that, GG does get called. Reaper fights back, and we have a game 5. Ooh, GG, well played. Again, Erik played well. He played well for himself, especially surviving the initial all-in, surviving the initial Lingbane bust, able to defend, able to get into Hydras as well. And it was insane how much damage he dealt to Reaper despite there being Mutas. He killed over 20 workers with his Roach Harass. But last, once the Mutas amassed enough, Erik forced himself into an all-in. I mentioned before, but Erik, he made the decision not to drone. He made the decision to cut workers and to commit to an all-in. And especially with the nerf to damage to the Infestors, to the Fungals are good at locking down the army, but you need support. You need to follow it up with enough DPS to really finish off, to really capitalize on that. And alas, we did not have that. We did not have a large enough army to deal with that. And GG, well played. Game 5, ace match, Bobby, ace match. Whew. And do we have any other updates? I'm curious. Do we have any other updates going on? We have some qualified player. Duco versus Disc is still ongoing? No shot. Oh my god. How long is that series? What? crazy, crazy. I think Roddy's covering them, maybe? Not too sure. Let's have a look. Roddy or Renegade? Renegade, yeah, is in Uko versus Disc. Let's go. God, I can't believe that's still ongoing. That means we're nowhere near being done. It means that after this series, we can keep on going. Whether it's with Vindicta M. Canning, whether it's with Rocker versus Foxer into Maples, Jason versus the loser of Uko and Disc. There's a lot. There's a lot still to come. There is a lot still to come. As we are just getting the lobby ready for our next game. Oh boy, and the pressure is on. The pressure is on. Again, I'm curious as to what's the next aggressive build from Reaper. Again, we've seen a lot. We've seen 1312s. We saw the fake hatchery. We've now seen a gas first. And the final map, ooh, is Golden Aura. Short rushes is by grounds. Good map for all-ins. Good map for, I would say, good map for two-base Roach, to be honest. But can we survive long enough to get into two-base Roach? That's what Erik has been attempting to do, but struggling to do so as well. Struggling to get a read on what Reaper has been up to. We'll see. We'll see if he can make his way through as we find ourselves in the final game. Whew. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the American Zerg player representing Team Gosu. Representing Team Gosu, it is Reaper. Fighting back and tying up the series 2-2. As he's going for a 13-12. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Brazilian Zerg player. He's one of our own. He is one of the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. Going for a 15-15. 15 hatch into a 15 pool against a 13-12. Now, initially the 13-12 did not work. You know, Erik, he was able to defend against it. He was able to shut it down quite easy. I say quite easy. It was pretty close. To be honest, it was wild, the game that we had. But we'll see if Erik can pull off the same defense. Now, the difference here is that the rush distance. Golden Aura has a very short rush distance, so I do like this from Reaper. I do think that a 13-12 on this map does hit harder, does hit faster. Again, we're staying in gas, of course. We're going to have a Bailey Nest up next. This is going to be a closer defense for Erik. It is going to be close. Oh boy. Can he pull it off? As for now, he still is in the dark. Lings are moving out. The Overlord will spot the Lings as they move out across the map. And Erik has some time to react. But again, a short amount of time as the spawning pool does now finish up. Spine Crawler is on the way. He's going for the same spine defense. Again, I do think this is going to be a little bit weaker here for Erik, but we'll see if he can pull it off. The goal here is to save the natural, save the queen, save the world. And come on down with that Spine Crawler as well. It's going to come down to the control of both players. Second spine is on the way on the low ground. Banelings are morphing in. Erik, he does get eyes on them. He's going straight for the Banelings. And he will shut them down at the same time. Reaper, he goes straight for the Spine Crawler. And this is going to be cancelled. But the one on the high ground finishes. And the second queen arrives. Again, no more Banelings. And without Banelings, Erik holds. Oh my god. He was crazy. to dive on those banelings the way that he did, to zone away the lings he is holding. We have our spine crawler, we have 2 queens, we have lings as well. We evacuate the natural base just in case. And a second spine crawler is about to finish up. And Reaper is transitioning. We are taking a second gas lair. This is looking like 1 base muta. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh my god, are we going to go 1 base spire, Buffy? I mean, the lings going to be threatening. Going to be threatening us around. Yeah, they do take down quite a lot of lings here of Erik. Every single one. Actually, Erik, he just was not looking, wasn't paying attention. Loses his army. Do we make any banelings? No, we did not. So the banelings were cancelled. And Reaper, he's going for the gold. I don't know if Erik is aware of said gold base. I think he is. But the gold is to be taken. Erik is slightly ahead in workers, behind in tech, no gases. Remember that, no gases here for Erik. As he sips in for a scout, he sees the lair, confirms the gases, and he wants to see the spire. There is no spire yet, but this screams mutas. And there it is. After the lings go down, there's the spire. So 1 base muta. Gold base has been scouted. Erik, he sees, he knows. He has all the information he needs. Obviously, Erik, he cancels the sport. Sorry, he cancels the spine. He knows he doesn't need it. He's getting more gases. All 4 gases at once. Trying to at least. 1 drone does go down. But again, upon seeing the lair, he knows that it's going to be a spire. He saw the gases as well. It could only be one thing. How does he react though? How does he respond? Spine crawlers are leapfrogging forward. We could try to go 2 base roach, but the reality is that the spire is almost done. Because it's 1 base spire, like this is going to finish very quickly, and this muta count is slowly going to get higher and higher. Now the gold base has been taken. We haven't been able to take advantage of it, not yet. We are droning though. We're sending our workers over towards that gold. Trying to get it up and running. There we go, as the 4th gas is finally taken here for Erik, working on his own lair. And the first mutas are on the way, so Reaper will gain map control. The overlords are racing back home, but they are slow. And at least one of them should go down. These mutas are on the way. Rich vesting gas guys are coming into play as well. A lot of minerals here for Reaper. We are skipping ling speed. Going straight for roaches. But again, we don't just have a handful of mutas. We're doubling down and making nothing but mutas. That's what I'm concerned about. The muta count will build up over time. We're fanning them out. We're looking for overlords. Erik trying to get a bit of scat off, but he will be shut down. Could we go for a Nidus all in? What's our queen count? We have 7 queens. We could go for a Nidus. There it is. Nidus is on the way. Let's go. With 7 queens, with spore crawlers as well, and we only have 5 mutas, soon to be 7 mutas. We can commit to a Nidus. Unfortunately, Erik doesn't have vision. He has nothing on the map to actually scout anything. Overseer's on the way. We're going to try and get something out there. But with these lings, with these mutas, it's going to be so difficult. The mutas, they dip in towards the main base. Oh, 1 muta is going to go down. A bit of an overextension from Reaper. But here we go. The Overseer is done. We can now zoom across the map and try to find a location for that Nidus. Roaches making their way towards that gold base. We could maybe throw down a Nidus with the roaches, or is that a distraction? It looks like it is. Overseer's moving out. Oh, not quite. The Nidus is revealed and it will be shut down. But again, the Overseer making its way towards the gold base. I do think this is more of a distraction than anything. And the roaches will gain control of this base. Nidus on the way. Is it going to finish though? That is the question. It looks like it will finish in time. But there are so many lings on the ground. Oof. Yeah, it's going to be close, but here we go. The Queens, they do come out, and it looks like Erik will shut down the space. At the same time, Roaches are flooding towards the natural base and the main base of his opponent. There's that Nidus. And we can bounce from one base straight to the other. It looks like Erik is doing it. Reaper, he's being pulled apart. The Queens, they go back into the Nidus. And the Queens, they pop out in the main base. There is no way for the Mutas to really respond. There are a lot of Lings, to be fair. There are a lot of Lings available. But we have Roaches to respond. We have Roaches to keep up. Spore Crawlers are being thrown down as well. But the Lings, they do collapse on this army. The Roaches doing what they can. The Queens transfusing each other as best they can as well. One transfuse. We are out of transfuse energy. The Queens are falling. They do focus down whatever mutas they can, but they have to evacuate. It's just too much. And Reaper will hold. Oh, does he? Oh, I don't know if I like this. Oh, God. We're going to get a couple more drones. We hold on to this position. We do have to respect the army, though. We're going back in. This is so close. The Nidus barely survived. We come in with another wave of Roaches. And Erik is breaking through. He's gaining ground. GG gets called. The Mutas cannot engage with that Spore Crawler. And Erik does it. He does make it through into the main event of ESL Masters Americas. GG. I pressed the wrong button. GG, well played. Congratulations to Erik as he does pull it off. He does take the series 3-2 and he qualifies for ESL Masters Americas. GG. That was very close. Towards the end, I was really concerned because the Nidus was getting so low that we came back out of the Nidus. But at the same time, you know, Reaper had given him the opportunity by backing off. GG, well played. That was very close. And Erik pulls it off in the end. My condolences to Reaper. That was his final chance. That was his final opportunity, but he does not make it into the main event. Again, my condolences. Good friend of the channel, but alas, will not make it through. GG, well played. Erik will. And that is 2 out of 3 Ducklings. 2 out of 3 Ducklings make it into the main event. Dolan made it through over Vindicta, and Erik made it through over his opponent, Reaper, as well. GG. GG, well played. Unfortunately, Ryu wasn't able to make it through. Ryu, he was knocked out by Canning in the end in a best of 3 in the ace match. It was a bit of a shame. My heart goes out to Ryu. It's so unfortunate that he happened to get COVID as well this weekend, leading up to, you know, the biggest event in StarCraft, you know, the EPT Pro Tour. So such a shame that that Ryu happened to get sick this weekend, and I'm sure that did impact and influence his play. But he did well for himself, you know, making it this far, making it to the closed qualifier, forcing the ace match out of Canning. GG, well played to Ryu. As we have to figure out where the hell we want to go.